Alright gang, welcome back to our Island Preservation Challenge here in Ronida Island. It is February and we are in the process right off the bat here of getting the sorghum field all plowed up, prepped and ready to be re-drilled. Nothing to harvest today, so we're just going to be working on prepping this field and getting it reseeded as we move along here. Now this field is going to have probably even worse of a output unless we do some kind of a cover crop. So I think that's what we'll probably do. We'll put some kind of cover crop in. I'm not quite sure what we'll do yet. Probably oilseed radish, probably. But anyway, we want to get that application of fertilizer, and right now, since this was not a grass field prior, in other words, it was the first time, but we actually put sorghum in it and we just harvested the sorghum, so we're not going to get that application of fertilizer from the ground because it wasn't grass prior. So we're going to put some oilseed radish in to try to help alleviate some of that and provide ourselves with at least one application of fertilizer. The other thing we could potentially do, obviously, is buy a fertilizer spreader. Now that we have a nice tractor, we had a nice tractor before, but this one can do a lot more. We could buy a fertilizer spreader and go that approach, although, as you can clearly tell in the right-hand corner, we are struggling for money. But that's going to likely change today. So a lot of you had some very good inputs in regard to what we should do next. I kind of asked a couple of questions about maybe what we should do. Thought about potentially selling, the baler. Maybe even the mower potentially, right? To get a little bit of income back into the account. Do think that is probably the approach we're going to go. I do think, though, before we do that, I will be doing at least one more mowing of the grass that we have remaining. We'll probably do that today, as a matter of fact. And then we'll kind of store all that as well. A couple things I did figure out. I already have it installed, but there is a fillable pallet you can buy for $50, and if I drop whatever the crop is or whatever it may be on the ground, similar to how we do, like how we have the stones right now, right? If I drop it on the ground, I can pick it up with the shovel and put it into that pallet, and then we could go sell it. Now it's going to be a very long, painstaking process to do that, but it is an option for us to do that, and so what I'm kind of thinking about is maybe turning on the silage pole, or stick, whatever you want to call it, and making some of that grass that we have in there into silage, and then unloading that silage from the pole onto our trailer. Obviously modify our trailer as it currently stands into a crop trailer, right? An agricultural crop trailer. And then dumping some of that on the ground and then picking it up with the shovel and putting it into one of those pallets that I just mentioned, right? So it's an option for us. Now, silage is obviously a decent price, right? You get a decent amount of money out of silage. It's about $220 or something like that right now. So pretty decent, but is it going to, make us all of a sudden not have to utilize manual equipment? No, it's not, but it would definitely provide us with some money that will hopefully help us here in the early stages since we are struggling a bit. So something I'm thinking about. I'm not positive if we will go that approach right off the bat or not, but I think at some point we certainly will be doing that. A couple other notes. A lot of you mentioned there's a trailer that I could find, or that I could get, that is a low loading type of trailer, which would help tremendously with all the issues we've been dealing with the forklift that we have, right? Definitely something I want to look into. The problem with that, similar to the same situation I already talked about or at the beginning of the episode, is we only have $830 in our account right now. That trailer itself is around $9,000, I think, $9,000. So it's not cheap. It would help out tremendously. We'd probably pay it off pretty quickly too, but we would have to sell the baler, which, like I said, we're probably going to do today, but we'd have to sell the baler to do that. I just don't know for sure if that's what I want to spend all of that baler money on, right? The baler, we're probably going to get $17,000, $18,000 out of it, so it certainly wouldn't be all of it, but it would be a significant chunk, right, that we'd be removing there. So I don't know yet. The other option I had thought about was just, removing the crickets altogether for the time being, maybe putting them back later on. I think we have paid for the cricket production already. If we sell the cricket production, we're going to get about $5,000. We've definitely made over $5,000 off the crickets so far, and we've got 3 more pallets over there to sell, which they're going to be around $1,000 each right there. So That's the other option, right? It's just to get rid of that altogether, so that way we can just utilize liftable stuff for the time being. The problem becomes, for my tests at least, and maybe there's another one out there that I haven't found yet, but from the tests that I've done, the fillable pallet box that I was talking about at the beginning of the episode here, it does not appear that when it's full, it can be lifted up by hand. So we're going to be right back in that same situation we're in now if we try to go to that silage approach, right? So, there's some thoughts to have there. There's some things to think about, I guess I should say, in regard to how we're going to do this and if we're going to do this. The other note on that, in my opinion, is that, if we decide to go that route, you're going to be $50 for every one of those pallets. I don't know for sure if those pallets are reusable. I would think they're probably not, which means whatever the amount is we get off that pallet of silage, you have to take $50 away from it. Each one of those pallets are $50. So not cheap, right? In the long run, will it make us money? Yeah, probably. Absolutely. But I just don't know for sure if that's what we should be doing or not. So a lot of things to think about, obviously, clearly. And we're going to have to try to figure that out between now, really, and the next episode. I'm not quite sure if we'll have enough time to do all of these things that I'm talking about today or not, because we're going to get this field plowed up. We got to get the stones off of it. Then we got to get it reseeded with some oilseed radish, of course, first and foremost. And then we're going to mow, right? So that's probably going to take up most of today's episode, I would suspect. So we've got a little bit of time to think about it, but not really, because I'm probably going to do this episode and the one after this, probably back-to-back. I've said that many times before. I like to do a lot of episodes kind of in a back-to-back setup because it's just easier for me. Normally I finish in, a recording on this map, and then I just go ahead and jump to the next one without having to go back out to the menu, reload another one. Saves a small amount of time, but, I'm already in the mindset, and I kind of know where we're going to go at that point, so it just overall is a little bit of an easier process for me. So more than likely, that's what's going to be happening here today. It is the weekend when I'm recording this, and when I'm on the weekends, I normally do a lot of recordings, obviously time permitting, of course, just like anything else. But so I think what I'm trying to get at is this one and the next episode are going to be done kind of in a back-to-back statement or a back-to-back setup. So I really won't have, unfortunately, a whole lot of availability for any kind of input from any of you between now and the next episode, since I'm going to be doing these back-to-back. But sometimes it just works out for my schedule to do that, so that's the reason why we're doing that. Anyway, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all doing well. I rambled for already almost 8 minutes already, just about all these different thoughts and questions that I have, and I really don't have the answer yet. It's going to be kind of a game time decision. Maybe it's the wrong decision. Who knows? But we'll figure that out as we move along through today's episode and really the start of the next episode, right? So, okay, the field is all plowed up. That did not take too long at all and kind of was expected. I'm half tempted to try to expand this field just a little bit more. Don't know if it's actually going to allow me. I mean, we are pretty close to the edge here, so it may not let me. We'll just try to expand it just a little bit. This is not going to be a major expansion. You're not going to see a huge difference here, but every little bit counts in the long run, though, right? A lot of people were talking about the rocks, and how we would go about doing it, right? And I was kind of just scattered myself all over the place because a lot of you said that's the way that I should do it. It would save a little bit of time, but the more I looked at it, the more I'm not quite sure it's actually saving us all that much time, at least not with this iteration of it. Maybe if we actually had a mechanical version of it, not a manual version of it, maybe it'd be a little bit faster. I could certainly see that. But I think given the circumstances we're in right now, I'm not quite sure it is faster. It might just be overall more of a benefit and faster for us just to do it the traditional up and down way, right? Instead of just kind of meandering our way all throughout the field itself. Maybe it is still the fastest way. I don't know. Maybe you guys are right, but it just doesn't seem like it to me. It seems like I'm giving about the exact same amount of effort and time. All right, that's going to be good enough. It's not perfect. There's definitely some rough edges there, but that's good enough. We did expand it a little bit, so we'll take it. A little bit of extra, a little extra income we'll get off of this field eventually, so that's going to be good. So we're going to bring this back here, then we're going to pick up the stone picker, and we'll get all the stones up off the field here. And I'm going to go back to the more traditional way, even if that is not the way that that you guys say I should be doing it. I am going to go back to that way. I just think it's going to be around the same amount of effort and time, honestly. And I've been missing some going the other way around. I noticed that after we went back and started to seed stuff, we missed a couple of things. So if I go through the entire field, even if, you know, I am wasting a little bit of time, it definitely makes sure that we're not missing any of the rocks, right? So yeah, I definitely think after we mow the remainder of this grass that we have, all this grass area, which eventually will be yard area, that kind of stuff, right? We've got some down there in that corner, and we've got some over there in that corner as well that we can mow. Once all of that is done, I do think we will get rid of the baler. We can always buy it back, right? Don't get caught up on the fact that we're getting rid of the baler. We can always buy it back. It's not a problem. I just think, given the current circumstances, we have really... Okay, can I unload this thing? All right, maybe not. Given the certain circumstances, I think we have plenty of grass, so I don't think it's anything that we specifically need. And there we go. It must have been... I did not think I had it unfolded, but evidently I did. And unload here. Perfect. We're just going to keep making a mound of stones here, which, again, will probably be in the worst spot possible, right? At some point, but hopefully by then we won't be relying so much on the manual stuff. I do think from a harvesting perspective, we are going to be relying on the manual stuff for a long, long time. There is a palletizer that I've talked about. It is not cheap. We're going to need a lot of money to be able to make that work. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is, I think at least for the good, I don't know, 1/3 of the series here, you're gonna probably see me utilizing the manual harvesting, just because it puts them in pallets for us, right? That is a super nice thing. It puts it in pallets for us already. We don't have to focus on any of that. We don't have to worry about any of that. Once we have enough for the palletizer and we're feeling a little bit more comfortable with where we are, we will 100% go the palletizer approach. I have heard there are a few minor hiccups and issues with it. Rusty was talking to me about it. To be fair, I really haven't looked into it at all. I have it installed. I haven't tested it. I haven't done anything with it. But I have been told that there are a few minor issues with it, depending on the certain crop that you're putting into it. But by the time we actually get enough money to utilize that, I'm hoping that that will either be updated or worked out or whatever, so it's not a major issue for us. So again, I'm not too worried about it right now, but it is something to be of concern probably in the next 15 episodes or so. I would suspect we're not going to be ready for it until around then. We're really going to need all of these fields to be harvested and really in a good spot. And again, we're going to need to get Grandma's knitwear down before I feel like we're really going to start to make some headway here, right? We started out a way that we probably shouldn't have. We probably should have started out with the manual equipment like we're utilizing now. But as I've mentioned many times already, I wasn't quite sure. It might have been, but I don't think it was fully out when I started to record this series. I think it came out the same day or the day after. I don't know. It was somewhere in that range. It could have been, I could be way off on this, but I didn't see it until then, at least. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to get the rest of these stones up. Then we're going to seed this field with oilseed radish. Like I mentioned, we're going to be doing that for every one of these fields. We're going to do a cover crop. I think the only real cover crop we can do on this map is the oilseed radish, or put grass back in, of course. We'll do oilseed radish, though. I don't do oilseed radish cover crop stuff all that often. I really don't, so this is going to be kind of nice to do that. Yeah, let's get to work. We got a long ways to go. All right, we are done, and I'm always surprised at how little seed it requires for oilseed radish. That was basically nothing at all for that entire field, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, nonetheless. Also, I'm sure I will, well, Future Z, just make sure you do this, and if I forget, I'm sorry, but Future Z, make sure you put an edit in. I can't buy a fertilizer spreader. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking we're on a different series, I guess, but that's not allowed in this series. Obviously, it's in the rules. I'm sure people have already been yelling at me about it in the comments, but I realized I realized I misspoke. I guess that's how I'll word it. A little bit too late, but yeah, we're not allowed to do that for this series, so yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, looks like rain's getting ready to be in the forecast. Let's jump into our brand new Fiat here. I'm going to move this out of the way, and we are going to mow up all of this grass that is remaining one last time, and then we will get it all mowed up. Oh, we're going to mow all of this grass up one last time, and then get it all baled up. I don't know what is going on right now. I cannot speak properly. No, I'm not really looking for perfection here. I just, you know, as long as we get most of it mowed up and as long as I don't kill any crop, then I'm going to be pretty happy with what we did here. So again, I'm not going to be, I mean, I'm going to get pretty close when I can, but I'm not going to be forcing myself to be super close to it and have the potential of killing some of the crop, because we do have crop destruction on. And evidently my controller batteries are low, which is not a good thing. So if that's what you're expecting me to actually hit every single strain of grass, it's not going to happen, and that's going to be okay with me. We've got plenty of grass, as I already mentioned. Plenty of grass, honestly. And like I said, I'm not quite sure on this map. I would suspect that it's not the same way as like the Farmlands map, where you can put down, you know, cows or water buffalo or whatever, and it, you know, they only require grass the entire time, right? They don't require any kind of a TMR. I don't suspect that's going to be the case for this map. I really don't. But if anybody knows, let me know down below. We're not ready for them yet, obviously, but soon enough, we will be. This one, I'm not quite sure. I don't even think I can go down that little path there. That path, we really didn't give ourselves enough space there for doing something like this. But that's all right. Again, if we don't get everything, we don't get everything. It's okay. We've got plenty of grass. We might as well just get, you know, one more cut out of this grass before we remove the baler. And I guess realistically we can remove the mower too from the equation for a little while. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, we're going to kill some crop there. There's not much I can do about it. That literally just popped up and said my batteries are low, and then not even what? How long was that? Maybe a minute more, and it turned off. We did kill a little bit of crop, but only a very small amount. I think, given the circumstances there, that was about the best we could possibly get from that situation. This is still going to be a decent amount of grass we're going to get off of this. This is going to be a nice payday still, of grass, I should say. Probably should move the rest of the manual equipment out of the middle of the grass here, since we're going to mow most of this up anyway, right? Put them all over here. This area right here where I have it is really flat, so I'm kind of leaning more towards making this, you know, our first shed area would be right over here, I think. Where we ended up putting the crickets and all that stuff, it's a little bit more of a hill than I actually thought it was. I thought it was pretty flat over there, but it turns out it wasn't. Now, the way I'm thinking about this, so when we were doing the time-lapse there of getting that field all set, right? The way I've been thinking about this is how I think we're going to go about it. We're going to leave the crickets for a while. More than likely, we will end up buying the flatbed trailer that I talked about. Probably not this episode, probably the next episode. So long as we can afford it, right? We're going to have to sell some stuff, but as long as we can afford it. If not, I guess we'll have to wait until we can't afford it. And then we'll keep the crickets until we have a cotton harvest ready. And when we have a cotton harvest ready, that is when we will sell the cricket production. Selling of the cricket production will get near, it makes no difference, the amount of money we need for Grandma's knitwear, or Granny's knitwear, whatever the actual mod's called, which in theory would be a nice replacement, right? We can just switch those out. So I think that's how I'm going to go about it. Whether that's the right way or the wrong way, I don't really know, but that's the way that I think I'm going to tackle this. So we'll run the crickets until that time happens. It's going to be a while. We already know for a fact that, cotton takes a long time, right? It takes a long, long time. So this is our first cotton field, so this would be the one that's ready, and it's not even close to a dark green like these are, right? So, yeah, we've got a ways. So we might as well continue to try to produce a little bit of money from the form of crickets for a little bit longer, right? So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We've like I said, we've already well paid for the price of the crickets. We really have. So it's not a big concern, but we might as well, there's not really hurting anything. That just removing them now is just going to remove money. The big problem with the crickets is figuring out how to get them and go and sell them, right? So, and maybe, like I said, maybe we get lucky. Maybe we don't have to remove them at all. But I do think I would like to move them, which I know I put them down recently, and maybe I should have thought about it a little bit better then. But I also, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, did not expect that area to be as hilly as it was. I thought it was a lot more flat than it turns out to be. So, yeah, it's I think it would be better utilized elsewhere, I guess is how I will put it. Those of you watching the competitive one-tile challenge, we pretty much at this point, at least for the next couple of weeks here, it will be just kind of a once-a-week release, I think. Every once in a while maybe we'll get two, but I do know that specifically more than Krusty at this point. I think Rusty is very, very busy. I've mentioned it before. He works at an actual case agricultural dealership, and obviously it is spring right now, so it's a very, very busy time. All the farmers are buying the stuff they need to buy, things like that, right? So it's a little more difficult for him to get together to do a video right now. So we're kind of just dropping that down back to once a week, as it was at the beginning of the series, back on Saturdays once again. And then if we have the time to do two, or if we're able to get two done in a week, we will, put that on Thursday. But until that happens, we're going to just drop it back down to one. It shouldn't be a super long period of time, probably like a month maybe that we do one a week. And then if we get lucky where, he's got a day where it's not as busy, or he doesn't have as much going on with phones, he's got to answer the phones pretty much all throughout the night in case a farmer calls or whatever, I guess is my understanding of it. I really don't know if the full extent of it. I guess go watch him and listen to him, but it's not a big deal to me. It helps us finish the Kinlake series, which is good, right? We want to finish that series here in the next couple of weeks, so it'll be nice to be able to hopefully accomplish that. And it extends out the time of the one-tile challenge, too, which is good, because a lot of people enjoy that, right? So I'm just going to push this over here out of the way. I'm not going to worry about mowing over there where the stuff's at now. I'm not really that concerned about losing that small amount of grass over here. Now, I think next month, well, obviously the oil seed is going to be ready next month that we just drove today, but I'm pretty sure this is the other field, what is the other field, that it looks like it'll be ready next month. If it's not, it'll be the following month, but it's onions. We are going to buy another harvester for this, so that's another thing we got to keep in our mind here, right? We're going to need another $1,500, $2,000, whatever it is for the harvester for that. Now, onions, this is the first time I've ever done onions, and I want to do onions at some point with, you know, all of the stuff that came out from the DLC for onions, but I really don't know what the price is for onions and how they look as far as their price goes. I don't know what to think. No idea. Not even a clue. So we will look at that here in a second, though, because I'm kind of excited about that. It probably is going to be a very small amount of money, I would suspect. But, you know, I would suspect onions are going to be very similar to, you know, carrots, parsnip, red beets, etc., right? Which are, you don't make a ton of money off of them. You sell them straight up, but they produce a lot, right? So just based off of the amount that you get out of it, you normally get a pretty decent amount of money back. Few more little touch-ups here and we're done. I'm not going to focus around the stones there. Don't really care too much that there's a little bit there missed. Alright, we're done. Fold this up, put this back over here out of the way. We'll put it over here. And we got to jump on the baler and get going here. So let's look at the onions really quick. Yeah, 543, actually, it's not terrible. That's not terrible. I mean, it's better than the red beets, right? I would assume it's better than carrots, too, yeah. So, I mean, it's a lot better, actually. It's probably double the price of what you would get on those. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Alright, we're underway picking this back up. And like we said, right? Later on, we're going to need a baler again. We are. And we're going to need all of this mowing and everything else. We're going to need all of this again later on. And when we need that, we can just rebuy the stuff. It's not that big of a deal, right? Right now, it's more pressing for us to be able to do some other things with the money. Like I said, we have plenty, in my opinion at least, plenty of grass for the foreseeable future. And since I can't really sell these bales, we can, like I said, turn it into silage and then have to go through that whole process of utilizing the shovel to put it into a bucket, but then we have to find, you know, a way to put the bucket, or the bucket, find a way to use a shovel to put it into a pallet. But then we got to find a way to get the pallet on some kind of a trailer. We know once the pallet is full of silage, because I tested this off camera, that it will not be able to be picked up by hand, which means we have to utilize our forklift over there. The problem with that forklift is it does not raise up high enough. Now, a lot of you mentioned, and I should have mentioned this probably earlier on in the episode, but a lot of you mentioned, well, why don't you just modify the ground a little bit, make a bit of a, you know, ramp or something like that. You're right, we could go that approach. I'm not quite sure I want to spend the money on that. I almost feel like it would be cheaper and just better overall for us to not go that approach and just buy a different trailer, right? Which was what we were kind of talking about earlier on in this episode, right? A lot of you mentioned a specific trailer for me. I do have it installed now. But as I mentioned, it's like $8,500 or something like that. It's not cheap. For a flatbed trailer, it's not cheap. I did run some tests as well on a few other trailers we talked about, right? We talked about that wood trailer. It turns out it's not much better than the one we have. It is a little bit better, but we were still having issues with it. I also attempted a couple of the other things that a lot of you mentioned, which was, well, why don't you take your crickets and put it on top of the rice sapling, and then pick up the rice sapling and put it on the trailer. It does kind of work, but it's kind of finicky. I really don't know how else to explain it besides actually showing you. So here at the end of the episode, I will show you what I'm talking about. It does seem like it will work, but it is not It's not the easiest thing, even though it works. It's not the easiest thing to do, and I know that probably doesn't make any sense at all. But I will show you. It basically just when you pick up the rice sapling, it just obviously this is a game. I can't really feel it, but it just feels like it's so much heavier, and it's like just very awkward. I guess that's the best way to put it. Is awkward, and you've got to be very, very careful when you're picking it up too, because it will fall off. I will show you. So that's the best way really to do it, is to show you. It is something, because we are going to need to sell those pallets today, or we are well, I guess we wouldn't, because I think we had like what, 1,200 or something like that at the end of the last episode. Is that what we had? Somewhere around in there, I think. So I guess not. We're losing around $400 a month, so we'll have somewhere around 400 if we weren't going to go sell those today, right? So I guess it probably would be okay. But anyway, we're going to sell them anyway, so I'm going to show it to you. Alright, I'm just picking up this last bale here, the ones that were being a little bit of a nuisance, and throwing them over here. So that's a lot of grass in there, and as you can see, we've got the silage running. I'm going to go ahead and turn the silage off now. I don't want to make all of that into silage. I just want to make some of it. I think 48,000 is enough for the time being. I know that's a lot of grass still in there. I understand that. But we're going to keep that there for the time being. So what I'm going to show you now is what we were talking about just a little bit ago. And we're going to pick up one of these pallets, and I'm going to go and stack it on top of a rice sapling, like you all mentioned. And then I will show you kind of what it looks like and what happens here. And like I said, it can still be done, so you're not wrong. It can be done, but it's a little weird. I'll leave it at that. It's a little weird. Alright, so we are spinning our wheels here. Alright, there we go. I think it was because we were on part of a hill there and it was having issues with it. So if we drop that down there, alright. Now, the reason why we were doing this is because the rice saplings have and are compatible with the liftable bale and pallet mods. So if I pick this one up, easily can pick it up and drop it down, right? No problems at all, really, with that one. If I go to this one, same thing. I'm trying to pick it up. See, it can be done, but I mean, just see. You see what I'm saying? It can be done, but it is not. It's not the best. Let's put it that way. But it can be done. It is possible. So I guess, you know, the other thing to think about is what you guys said, right? We can do this. We can go this approach, at least for the time being, until we're able to get some money together and move on to something else. But it is. I mean, you can just see it right then and there, right? It's not. So there you go. In essence, yes, it can be done. It can be done. Should it be done? Probably not, but it can be done. So, I mean, I guess that's the way we go about it for a little while here, until we figure out between now and the next episode what I'm doing, which, as I mentioned, I'm going to figure that out pretty quickly. Also, we had hail damage, unfortunately. You can see it right here. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the episode. We had hail damage. So that's a little unfortunate, right? I think our sheep and goats are doing okay. We actually did get some baby goats that have spawned, by the way. Because there's 14 animals in there now. Oh, there you go. There's one. There, you can see a couple of them right there. There's the babies. So that's good for us, right? Still really not enough wool there to you know, to put down Grandma's knitwear, in my opinion, so... Still spinning wheels here again because of that hill. There we go. Okay. Let's, like, hover this thing in the air awkwardly again. So there you go. It works. It works. But it's a little weird, but it works. So we'll go sell these. Again, this is going to make us an okay amount of money. It definitely will help just, you know, solidify the bank account a little bit more there between now and March, which would be good. March comes around. We are going to have both fields ready. One's ready to harvest, obviously, the oilseed radish. We're just going to... I don't know if we're going to put sorghum back in there or not. We probably will go sorghum. But I don't know. Maybe not. I do not think we will be doing a second episode. Well, we won't. We won't be doing a second episode here today in February. Sometimes we do. We're not going to be doing that today. It'll just be one. We'll go to March for the next episode. So $291 for that, and $5,346 for that. So that puts us in a lot better of a spot, honestly. So we've got $6,446. That almost pays for the actual trailer that we need. So that's pretty good. So maybe between the now and March, well, we will have more. And if we continue to go that little trick that you guys taught me by putting the crickets on top of the rice and awkwardly throw it up on top of here, we probably will, in essence, will have enough for that trailer come next month. So that'll be good. So we'll leave the episode at this point. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like, subscribe button. In the case you've yet to do so, they are free. They help me out an absolute ton. Thanks to my members. I cannot thank them enough for all of their continued support. There is a link down below if you want early access to videos like this one, including the competitive one-tile challenge. There's a Discord link down below. My second channel link's down below. Everything you need. It's all down below for you. Make sure you join up on the Discord if you haven't done so, man. There's a lot of opportunity there for you to share any kind of video or image or whatever, live stream, whatever it is you're working on. Maybe you can get that out to more individuals who might come across you and take a look at what you're producing, what you're coming out with. So make sure you do that if you haven't done so. Once again, thanks for watching. Once again, thanks for your continued support. It really does mean a lot, man. And I'll see you next time.